Hmm. Haiguan mused before asking. Do you know its location? The man trembled, thoughts racing in his head. I'll tell them everything. Please, just spare me. Mujin and Haiguan exchanged glances. A silent understanding passed between them. We found them. As soon as the man provided the necessary details, Haiguan turned on his heel and immediately began moving toward the location without hesitation. Mujin, sensing the recklessness of the decision, quickly called out, Wait, going in with just the two of us could be dangerous. Let's contact the rest of the monks and go together. Haiguan paused only briefly before turning his head slightly. You want to call for reinforcements? He scoffed. I don't think that's necessary. He then lifted his hand and gestured toward the nearby rooftops. I think my guys are more than enough already. Mujin's eyes widened as he turned and saw them, silhouettes perched on the rooftops, blending seamlessly with the shadows. Realization dawned upon him. So the presences I felt earlier, they were from the Demon Extermination Squad? When did they start following us? Haiguan chuckled. They'll show up wherever I am, or wherever the stench of the demonic cult lingers. Looks like the higher-ups didn't just send me to handle this mission. They really are obsessed with me. Then, raising his voice, he issued the command. All of you heard me, right? Demon Extermination Squad, move out. The Tyrant Blade faction was a notorious unorthodox group that played a major role in the novel Unorthodox Tyrant Chronicles, written by author G.A. Kyung. Known for their ruthless and sadistic nature, they stood as one of the most feared villainous organizations within the story. Under the secret patronage of the Heavenly Merchant Guild, the faction engaged in a range of illicit activities, including drug trafficking and human smuggling. To ensure that their operations remained undetected, they deliberately chose a secluded and well-hidden base in the outskirts of a remote village, making it nearly impossible for outsiders to stumble upon their whereabouts. Meanwhile, deep within the hidden stronghold of the Tyrant Blade faction, the air was thick with tension. The leader of the faction sat upon his ornate seat, his eyes gleaming with a mixture of irritation and expectation. His voice was sharp as he addressed the subordinate kneeling before him. You failed, he asked, his tone devoid of patience. The subordinate kept his head low, suppressing a nervous gulp. Yes, unfortunately, he admitted. As per your orders, we attempted to manipulate the sects in the area to force the Shaolin disciples into retreat. However, our efforts were thwarted by a single monk, the one they call the Blessed Monk. Because of him, our plans to drive them out ended in failure. The leader narrowed his eyes, his grip tightening on the armrest of his chair. You're telling me that all of you failed because of one young monk? He scoffed before shaking his head in disgust. This is exactly why I despise the Orthodox factions. Those self-righteous hypocrites can't even stand on their own without clinging to their so-called morality. They're dead weight, yet somehow you still lost to them. The subordinate hesitated for a moment before voicing his concern. But will this really be fine? If the rumors are true and Haiguan, the demon exterminator, is accompanying the blessed monk. Before he could finish his sentence, a club came to an abrupt stop just inches from his forehead. The sheer force behind it caused the air to tremble. The subordinate froze in place, barely able to breathe. His trembling eyes darted upward to see his leader gripping the heavy weapon with an ironclad grip, his expression unreadable. So what? The leader sneered, tilting his head slightly. Do you think I'll lose? He let out a low chuckle before leaning forward, eyes gleaming with a dangerous glint. Well, I suppose Haiguan has slaughtered quite a number of people. But tell me, his smirk widened. Aren't you curious as well? The subordinate, still staring at the club hovering near his face, struggled to suppress his fear. The leader grinned, exuding confidence. If the so-called demon exterminator and I, the great leader of the Tyrant Blade faction, were to clash at